Hey sweet Libra. Something big is happening this week. You may not know exactly what it is yet, but your soul does, and that's why you're here. This video was created with one purpose: to confirm what your intuition has been whispering all along. Someone very close to you is about to be exposed, and when the truth comes out, there will be no turning back. You didn't just stumble onto this video. You were brought here by something higher, a divine alignment that could only happen when the time was right. And guess what? That time is now. Lately, have you been feeling disconnected from someone you used to trust? Have you noticed subtle shifts, vague excuses, changes in tone, that sense of something's off, but you can't quite explain why? Your soul has already felt the tension. But because you're Libra loving, peace-seeking, always giving the benefit of the doubt, you've likely silenced your gut feeling in order to keep the peace. Well, you don't have to do that anymore. This week, God is stepping in. Not to punish you. Not to scare you. But to show you that the truth has been hidden for long enough and that you deserve the clarity your heart has been quietly praying for. Here on Zodiac Whisper Tarot, we don't just read horoscopes, we deliver soul-level messages. Messages that find you exactly when you're ready to hear them. And if you're listening now, then this message is meant for you. You see, there's a pattern that needs breaking. There's someone, maybe a friend, a lover, or even a family member who has benefited from your kindness without honoring your truth. But this week, the divine spotlight shines directly on them. And when it does, the mask will fall. Once you see it, you won't be able to unsee it. But here's the real miracle. You'll also see yourself more clearly than ever before. You'll see how deeply intuitive you are. You'll see how long you've been holding your breath to keep things okay. And you'll finally exhale, not because everything is fixed, but because you're finally free from pretending. Before we go further, let me take a moment to thank you deeply, sincerely, for being here. Every comment, every like, every subscription doesn't just help this channel grow. It deepens our spiritual community. And if this message resonates with you, drop a comment below to confirm, even something simple like, "I feel this," or a sacred number you've been seeing often. What you share may be the exact sign another Libra soul needs to recognize their own truth. So stay with me until the very end, because what the universe is about to reveal is not only going to change how you see them, it's going to transform how you see yourself. Now, Libra. Can you feel it already? Let's begin. There are moments in life when clarity doesn't arrive through logic, but through discomfort, the kind that creeps in slowly and sits quietly behind our smiles. Libra, you know this feeling well. That gentle unease in your chest when someone close to you says one thing, but their energy whispers something entirely different. You've spent weeks, maybe even years, brushing off the disconnect. Giving benefit after benefit of the doubt. After all, you were born to bring harmony. But sometimes, the weight of holding everything together silently tips your inner scales out of balance. As someone guided by divine intuition, you often sense the fracture long before it becomes visible. It shows up in broken eye contact, inconsistent behavior, stories that don't quite align. You feel the subtle shift, the way a room grows colder when a certain person walks in. The tension between words and energy. And yet, because you long for peace more than victory, you allow it. You rationalize, forgive, and stay, hoping love alone will recalibrate the imbalance. But there comes a moment, divinely timed and energetically precise, when the truth no longer knocks, it crashes. That moment is here. From an astrological perspective, Libra is ruled by Venus, the planet of beauty, diplomacy, and grace, but Venus also rules values, and values demand clarity. This week is not about confrontation, it's about alignment. The universe, through its ever-precise rhythms, has orchestrated this season so that the mask falls naturally, not because you rip it away, but because it simply can't stay on any longer. The person who has hidden behind illusion, convenience, or emotional manipulation can no longer vibrationally remain in your energy without being seen for who they truly are. In tarot, this moment resembles a dance between the moon and the tower. The moon speaks of illusion, confusion, and half-truths, a soft fog that keeps you emotionally suspended, guessing, adapting. But the tower? That's when God, in all divine mercy, decides you deserve better. And he removes the structure not to punish you, but to protect the truth of your soul. When these two energies meet, what once felt secure will crumble, not to leave you broken, but to leave you free. You may wonder, why now? Why this week? Why like this? And the answer, though simple, is profound, because you're finally ready. Ready to see what you couldn't see before. Ready to hold the weight of truth without needing it to be sugar-coated. Ready to stop adjusting yourself to fit a version of reality that was never aligned with your spirit to begin with. Divine timing is rarely convenient, but it's always accurate. What is revealed now is what needed to be revealed in order for your next chapter to unfold. Spiritually speaking, you are being called back to yourself. There is no need for rage, nor bitterness. Instead, embrace this unraveling with the grace that only a Libra can hold. Let the truth cleanse you. Let the mask falling away be the invitation to breathe without reservation again. You are not being punished, you are being repositioned. Sometimes the most loving thing God can do is to allow the cracks to show. Not so you can judge, but so you can choose. This is not about blaming others, but about reclaiming your ability to discern what's true. As Scripture gently reminds us in its spirit, not in its wording, truth is light. And light has never needed permission to shine. So take a deep breath. You didn't miss the signs. You didn't fail to protect yourself. You were simply walking with an open heart in a world where not everyone deserved access to it. But now, the scales are rebalancing, not just around you, but within you. And from this moment forward, you'll see not just who they truly are, but who you've been all along. Sometimes, clarity arrives not like a lightning bolt, but like a quiet unraveling. A message read by accident. A sentence overheard. A shift in tone that no longer feels loving. For many Libras this week, the truth won't show up with drama, it will arrive in subtle but undeniable ways. Depending on your birthday window, the universe will tailor the delivery. For those born between September 23rd and October 1st, you may stumble upon a tangible piece of evidence, a text message left open, a forgotten note, a social media trail that wasn't meant for your eyes. But it will be unmistakable. Your intuition, which has been quietly whispering, will suddenly align with undeniable fact. Those of you born between October 2nd and October 11th may receive the truth through a third party. Perhaps a friend finally speaks up. Maybe a colleague hesitates before revealing what they know, but their conscience won't let them hold back anymore. These messengers may not have shared sooner out of fear of disrupting your peace, but now, they sense it's time to protect your future, not preserve a false present. And if your birthday falls between October 12th and October 22nd, the truth is most likely to reveal itself directly. Not because someone confesses out of courage, but because their mask simply slips. They say too much. Or their energy breaks under the weight of the lie. The version of themselves they've shown you can no longer be sustained, and it cracks right in front of you. Each of these paths to truth is orchestrated with care. Not to break you, but to wake you. The person in question may not even be aware of how much their actions have drained your spirit. But the divine design of this moment is not about their awareness, it's about your recognition. When a mask falls, it doesn't just show you who they are. It also shows you where you've been ignoring yourself. Where you've been silencing your intuition to keep someone else comfortable. Where you've been rationalizing behavior that didn't honor your worth. And while this revelation may be painful, it's also profoundly empowering. The truth doesn't come to hurt you. It comes to restore you. It comes to return you to balance, the very principle that defines you as a Libra. This week, you are being given the rare opportunity to see with new eyes. Eyes that are not clouded by hope or obligation, but sharpened by wisdom and compassion. And in this clarity, you will begin to recalibrate not just your relationships, but your own energy. You'll stop overgiving. You'll stop overcompensating. You'll start listening more closely to that voice inside you that always knew, even when it wasn't ready to speak. And yes, as you navigate these truths, allow yourself to feel what needs to be felt. There is no weakness in being disappointed. There is no shame in not seeing it sooner. We all hold on longer than we should when we love deeply. But remember, the point of this moment isn't to look back and blame. It's to reclaim your forward path. As the weight of confusion lifts, you'll be able to stand taller, not because you forced yourself to be strong, but because the truth has removed what was never yours to carry. To support your energy during this process, surround yourself with grounding and clarifying colors: pure white for mental clarity, deep blue for inner calm, and silvery violet to protect your energy and open your perception. These aren't just visual aids, they're vibrational reminders of what you're moving toward: truth, balance, and peace. This week, as the mask falls and the light reveals what was hidden, you are not losing something. You are gaining yourself. And that is a trade you'll never regret. ChatGPT.noi. What often surprises people isn't the truth itself, but how long they carried the weight of not knowing it. After the mask falls, Libra, what follows is not just a revelation about another persona, it's an emotional reckoning within you. The feelings will not arrive all at once in a neat, linear way. At first, there may be a sharp sting, that unmistakable shock of realizing someone you trusted has betrayed that trust. There's a silence inside you that doesn't come from peace, it comes from rupture. And then comes the wave of anger, not because you hate them, but because you feel that sacred part of yourself, your loyalty, your softness, your belief in their words was mishandled. But anger is not the enemy here. It's an emotional boundary coming alive. It is the soul saying, enough. Don't rush yourself through it. You have every right to feel the grief, the confusion, and yes, the rage. You gave more than they deserved. You bent yourself to maintain harmony, even when the energy around you wasn't in alignment with truth. And now, your body is recalibrating. Not to break you but to bring you home. After the anger settles, some of you may feel hollow. This emptiness is not failurite space being cleared. For a while, you may feel numb, like the colors have faded, like time has slowed. This is natural. You're no longer burning energy trying to hold together something false. This silence is healing. It's the part where your nervous system finally exhales, even if your heart is still catching up. In that stillness, you begin to notice the lightness, the strange but unmistakable relief of not pretending anymore. You're not explaining away contradictions. You're not questioning your own instincts. You're not making peace with confusion. And that is the beginning of emotional freedom. Eventually, almost without realizing it, you'll start to breathe differently. You'll find yourself smiling for no reason. You'll notice a moment of calm in places that used to bring tension. This is the rebirth. Not because you forced healing, but because healing naturally happens when truth enters. You don't need to fight for peace, Anna Maria. It arrives on its own when you stop managing chaos. That's the gift of the pain. It doesn't destroy you. It opens the door. What you're going through is not weakness. It's restoration. You are returning to your original state of knowing. And sometimes, God allows what's false to fall apart not as a punishment, but as a permission slip to stop carrying things that never belonged to you. You were never meant to explain dishonesty. You were never meant to water down your clarity. You were meant to live in truth, even if it temporarily breaks your heart. To support your nervous system this week, lean into natural calm. Try sipping warm chamomile tea in the evening to soothe the heart and settle your breath. Blueberries, rich in antioxidants, help your mind stay alert while calming inflammation. Warm ginger tea can bring circulation back into areas that feel frozen by shock. Pair these with simple rituals, perhaps a 7-minute morning meditation where you just breathe and observe. Go on a quiet walk without music and let your thoughts settle like leaves on water. And if you feel lost in the swirl of emotion, write. Your journal isn't a place for polished thoughts. It's a place for honesty to flow without shame. You are not here to hold on to what deceives you. You are here to honor what's real. And in this very moment, that includes every emotion you're feeling. Let it all pass through you, because what comes next is not just clarity, it's the beginning of something beautifully, unmistakably yours. There comes a time, not once, but often, when what we see on the surface finally lines up with what we've been feeling all along. This week for Libra, the moment isn't just about discovering a person's deception, it's about recognizing a pattern that has quietly repeated itself in your life. One person may wear the mask, but the energy beneath it is familiar, isn't it? That sense of giving more than you get. That experience of holding peace for both sides, even when your side was shattering. That silent fear of rocking the boat, even when you're the one drowning in it. The universe isn't just lifting the veil on a persona, it's lifting the veil on why this type of person keeps finding their way into your orbit. Libra, your essence is radiant, gentle, fair. You have an emotional elegance that makes others feel seen, understood, forgiven. And it's that very light, your ability to listen without judgment, to offer grace even when you're hurting, that draws certain people in. But not all who are drawn to light are there to bask in it. some come to dim it. Not intentionally perhaps, but energetically. Because when someone is not ready to live in truth, they subconsciously seek out someone like you, a peacekeeper who will excuse, rationalize, absorb. And slowly, the roles shift. You stop being you, and start being who they need you to be so they don't have to change. The revelation happening now is not just personal. It's archetypal. You are beginning to see through an old karmic story, a script you've unknowingly been cast in, time and time again. In astrology, Libra is ruled by Venus, the planet of harmony and connection. But Venus also rules values, and this week is about realigning with your own. When you live too long in imbalance, your inner scales begin to tilt, not just in your relationships, but in how you see yourself. You begin to believe that sacrificing your comfort is a form of love. That silence is protection. That endurance is the same as loyalty. But none of that is sustainable. And this week, the truth comes not just to remove a persona, it comes to remove a pattern. From a tarot perspective, this phase is supported by Justice, Queen of Swords, and Ten of Swords. Justice calls for balance and accountability, not revenge, but restoration. The Queen of Swords asks you to engage not from emotion alone, but from clear discernment. She holds truth not as a weapon, but as a compass. And the Ten of Swords? That is the collapse of illusion, the painful end of what was false, and the undeniable beginning of something more honest. These cards, taken together, form a spiritual mirror: what you've tolerated, what you've misunderstood, and what you must now release. In numerology, the energy of the number 7 echoes loudly this week. 7 is the number of spiritual awakening, of introspection, of seeing beyond the veil. It invites you to look deeper, not at others, but at yourself. Where did the pattern begin? Where have you been ignoring your boundaries to maintain someone else's comfort? Where have you believed that love meant staying quiet? The number 7 doesn't demand perfection, it simply asks you to stop pretending. There's a gentle lesson that lives in the wisdom of the heart, that love without truth is not love at all, its performance. And you, Libra, were never meant to perform. You were meant to shine honestly. You were meant to relate, not rescue. And above all, you were meant to be free. Free to see. Free to choose. Free to break the cycle with compassion, not just for them, but for yourself. Because the more you honor your truth, the more you teach others how to do the same. And that, in itself, is a quiet revolution. The moment the truth arrives, no matter how painful or unexpected, it creates an opening. And in that opening, Libra, you begin to breathe in a different frequency. What felt like collapse only a few days ago now begins to feel like clarity. You're no longer trying to figure out where you stand in someone else's story. You're writing your own. That's the quiet power of choosing truth. It invites an alignment, and with alignment comes peace, not because things are perfect, but because they're finally real. And that reality, even if raw at first, becomes the foundation for a new era of living. In this next phase, you'll begin to see everything differently: your relationships, your decisions, even your role and past dynamics. What you once allowed will now feel energetically incompatible. Not because you're bitter, but because your soul has grown. You'll start choosing differently, not out of defense, but from awareness. You'll see clearly who feeds your energy and who depletes it. And without needing to fight, argue, or explain, you'll start releasing what no longer resonates. The process is natural. Like a scale finally tipping back into balance after years of subtle misalignment. This isn't about cutting people off to punish them. It's about honoring the version of you that no longer tolerates emotional noise disguised as love. You are choosing who gets to stay in your inner circle based on something deeper than words, based on energetic truth. And because Libra is the sign of connection, you're not closing the door to love. You're opening it to the kind of love that doesn't require you to abandon yourself in order to receive it. Astrologically, this is a Venus-driven realignment. As the ruler of Libra, Venus governs not only love but self-worth, values, and the art of mutual respect. What's shifting now is your understanding of reciprocity, not just in romance, but in friendship, family, and even work. You're no longer giving your time or energy to people, projects, or promises that live only in potential. You're becoming a magnet for what is honest, reciprocal, and grounded in presence. From a vibrational standpoint, the law of attraction responds not just to what you want but to what you allow. And when you stop allowing energy that dishonors you, you naturally create space for better. You don't have to force it. You simply shift your frequency, and life responds. Real relationships rise to meet you. Clear career opportunities show up where chaos used to be. And even your body begins to respond with more rest, more calm, more vitality. That's the magic of congruence, when your inside world and outside world finally match. Color can be a quiet companion in this process. This week, consider working with turquoise to stabilize emotional clarity, cream yellow to invite inner warmth and softness, and olive green to ground your new boundaries in compassion. These tones are not just visual, they carry a vibration that reminds your nervous system, you are safe to trust what is real. And if there's one lesson that echoes through this entire transformation, it's this: peace is not something you beg for, it's something you choose. And when you choose it, even if it means walking away from comfort or rewriting relationships, you activate a field of energy that pulls in everything meant for your healed, whole, honest self. So yes, Libra, you've been through the unraveling. But now you rise in truth. You walk forward in balance. And you do it with grace, not because it's expected, but because it's who you've always been. This is your new chapter. And this time, you are the one holding the pen. And now, Libra, as we gently bring this message to a close, I invite you to take a deep breath, not just through your chest, but all the way into your spirit. You've just walked through a journey of realization, of emotional truth, of quiet but powerful awakening. What has been revealed to you in this reading was never meant to break you, it was meant to realign you. To remind you of who you are when you stop bending for people who only know how to take, and start honoring your own sacred center of balance. The truth that emerged this week didn't show up to punish you. It arrived as a gift. A gift wrapped in clarity, delivered by divine timing, and meant to set you free. Free from confusion. Free from emotional labor you were never supposed to carry. Free from the loop of justifying what never felt right in the first place. You don't have to hold the balance for someone who refuses to meet you there. You were not put here to sacrifice your peace for the illusion of connection. You were born to live in truth, and to extend love that is mutual, not manipulative. So now that you see things more clearly, how will you show up differently? How will you choose to protect your light, not out of fear, but out of deep self-respect. What boundaries are ready to be redrawn, not to push people away, but to invite only what is real to come closer? Could you take time this evening to write a letter to yourself 6 months from now? A note filled with grace and wisdom. Tell that future version of you what you've released, what you've reclaimed, and what kind of relationships you are now calling into your life. Remind yourself that even when it felt hard, you chose alignment. You chose healing. Because Libra, this isn't the end. This is the beginning of something far more grounded, honest, and fulfilling. A chapter where you no longer abandon yourself to be loved. A time where your energy is no longer scattered trying to figure others out, but centered in knowing yourself. And when you live in that truth, everything changes. Your relationships evolve, your career flows with more clarity, your nervous system begins to rest. This is your new timeline. And you're the one choosing it. So I ask you gently but powerfully, what truth are you ready to stand in now, even if it means letting go of something that once felt safe? What kind of love are you willing to receive, now that you're no longer available for anything halfway? And what would shift in your life if you treated your inner peace as sacred, non-negotiable, untouchable? If this message spoke to something deep inside you today, I invite you to comment below, not just for me, but for yourself. Say, I choose balance, or share a number or word that's been appearing in your life. Maybe you felt a shift coming. Maybe someone's energy has changed. Maybe this message confirmed a truth you already knew. Whatever it is, put it into words. It helps anchor the intention. And by doing so, you might also help another Libra who needed a sign. Thank you, truly, for being here. For showing up for your healing. For holding space with me in this sacred circle we've created at Zodiac Whisper Tarot. Every like, every comment, every subscribe is more than just support. It's part of the energy that allows these messages to keep reaching those who need them most. And if you felt seen today, please stay with me. Because what's coming next for you, dear Libra, is nothing short of miraculous. But it begins with one sacred choice: to stop silencing your truth and start living it. You are ready. And I'll be here, walking with you, every step of the way.